Hello, I'm Emma Hitt Nichols. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm talking here today about medical writing as a career for people who are already in bench science or in clinical practice as an MD or a PhD. Who am I to talk about this and why am I talking about it? Well, I would like to tell you a little bit about my story and see if you can relate to any of it. And one thing I'd like you to do, if you're interested in this whole topic, is to write any comments or questions you have below the screen. Hopefully there's a little box there that you can write your comments in. And please let me know what kinds of questions that you have about transitioning into a career in freelance medical writing. We'll be launching a course pretty soon, and I want to make sure that we have everybody's input and provide the most valuable content possible in that course. So for today, I'm just going to tell you my story and how I got started in freelance medical writing and, why do I want to help other people get into freelance medical writing? Well, so you may detect a slight English accent. So I came over here from London in 1984, and a couple of years later, I ended up getting into undergrad and getting a degree in biology. Awesome. Loved the topic, but not much you can do with it except go to graduate school. So I found a PhD program that accepted me, and I really liked the fact that I had a free tuition and full stipend to go there. And I ended up getting a PhD in nutrition and health sciences from Emory University with kind of a molecular biology emphasis. And for the first 2 years of that program, it was awesome because I just did more of the same. It was bookwork, studying, test taking, and I was pretty good at that, and that wasn't a problem. The problem came in about year 3 when I had to pick a lab in which I would do my research to form the basis of my dissertation. And I had great ideas, I think, scientifically. It was fine, my hypothesis and everything, but I had to carry out the lab work, the underlying lab work to prove those hypotheses and write my dissertation. And that's where the trouble came. I wasn't particularly talented at lab, and it was the kind of thing, and everybody that's done lab work knows this, it's repetition, because a lot of times, most of the time, your experiments will fail. And so you can spend hours of work, days of work, months of work, doing experiments and having them fail and having to repeat them. So that's not my kind of thing. If you put effort in, I like to see results, right? That's the kind of thing I like. So for me, I just knew that I wouldn't succeed at lab work. And it was a real quandary at the time because I had put in 3 years into graduate school, and I didn't want to throw those 3 years away, and I couldn't see how I was going to finish my degree either. It was awful, 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 awful. It was a very existential crisis. It was a bit like a Kafkaesque Groundhog Day situation. So anyway, in the depths of my despair, I asked my version of my higher power, which I choose to call God. I said, God, what do you want me to do with all this? Because I just don't know. And pretty soon I started thinking about writing and how teachers in undergrad had told me that I had some talent at writing. And that was nice, but I didn't really think much of it at the time because I was going to go to grad school or medical school. So I started thinking, how can I combine writing and science? And I didn't really know that there was a career that existed called science writing, but I looked it up on the internet, such that it was in 1997, and found the National Association of Science Writers and a whole group of awesome people that were willing to share their expertise and knowledge with me about what science writing was. And I reached out to a few of the members, and it was, I finally found my home. I said, okay, well, I'm going to finish up my PhD, as hard as it is, but now I have a reason why I'm doing this. I want to be a science writer, and I want to, that's what I want to do. And it met with some opposition in graduate school, I have to say, because people were saying, and my professors were like, well, how you're going to be a writer? They don't make any money. How can you possibly think about doing that, And I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And also they said, why would you throw away a perfectly good career in science? Well, to that I would say I haven't really thrown away my career in science, because I still use my science knowledge every day in the medical writing that I do. And as far as the income goes, I mean, even in grad school, I made $40,000 in the last year of grad school doing science writing on the side, freelance. And also the first year that I went full-time and hung up my shingle as a freelance medical writer, I made $90,000, and that was in 2001 when the planes hit the World Trade Center, and wasn't the best year economically, if you can recall. So medical writing has always been lucrative, and of course I've made more than that ever since. And the beautiful thing, the really, really beautiful thing, and it's not just the money, but instead of what my future was, which was going into a lab, maybe as a postdoc, you know, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and trying to make a name for myself in science away from my house, what I now realize is that freelance medical writing has helped me have a family life that I couldn't have had if I'd have stayed in the academia track. And in 2003, I had my daughter, and she's now 12 years old. And, you know, I've never missed her first steps, and I have never missed her picking her up from the bus stop. And I've been there the whole time. I'm there every evening in the afternoon cooking dinner. So it is a really incredible opportunity. And having had that experience, I don't know that I could ever be away from my family in the way that a corporate job or a lab job would cause me to be. So for that, I am hugely indebted to medical writing for allowing that opportunity. Anyway, I feel that I was really helped out of a sticky situation in that lab there where I just didn't know what I was going to do. And I've always said, if there's any way I can pay it back and help other people do the same thing, then that's what I'm going to want to do. And that's what I've done. And I've had a course since 2011. I've started the 6-week course, and really, I mean, everybody that's in there does all the hard work themselves, but I'm there to guide them and encourage them and try to show them the way of how to transition. It's kind of a leap that you have to make out of clinical practice or lab work into freelance medical writing, but I've done it, I did it, and I've seen many other people do it, and also what it takes to be successful at that. So I'm excited to share that information. All right, so trying to think if there's anything else. Yes, so accompanying this video, there's what is medical writing, and that's pretty basic. If you already know what it is, you can skip it, but some people don't know. And then in the next, if you stay tuned for the next email, there'll be a link to a couple of videos. One of them is, am I qualified to be a medical writer? And then, am I cut out for freelancing specifically? And then also, what's the best way to transition into medical writing? And it gives a bit more detail about the specifics you need to know about that. And then there'll be another video, and all of this is free content. The next video will be 10 things you need to do before you launch your freelance medical writing practice. So that'll lay the groundwork if you do want to make that transition into freelance medical writing. All right, thank you so much. And don't forget, leave me some comments below, comments, questions, anything that you think should be in the upcoming launch of the new online version of the course. Thank you so much.